What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of 4 Dummies, and tonight I am joined with the other 3 dummies. I have Mrs. Skullface.
Hello.
Mr. Just One.
Yo, what's happening?
And Mr. Robert Detoff.
Hello.
And today we are going to be talking about the impact on Masterpiece from the kind of explosion in popularity of what Legends has become. Before we get into this conversation, I do want to remind you that we have an uncut version of this conversation available on Patreon at the $5 level, where you can hear the hour-long or more conversation regarding it. So with that being said, just what do you think the impact is of Legends on Masterpiece?
So I think the reason why you see a lot of these why we have less MP companies is because Legends exploded. And I think that part of that reason is because they take up less space and they're pocket friendly, cheaper, I guess I should say.
They used to be pocket friendly, and that was the initial the initial hook. They're not pocket friendly.
Well, not really, Robert, because they were at one point war in pocket, and that's not friendly at all.
War in
pocket. Right.
War. How much was the Toys R Us Prowl? $60. How much is a typical new age release? $60. You know,
but any third party release was minimum $100.
$100,
yeah,
but
$100.
Scale.
Well, I would argue that yes, the Prowl was $60, but now that Prowl would be $120.
Yeah, for sure.
What was Hound?
And again, the space issue. A lot of people are like, "Look, I don't, you know what I mean? I can fit my whole Transformers collection now on one shelf versus having to have a whole room dedicated to it."
I'm looking at it in the opposite way. I think Legends are born from how Masterpiece has processed over time. There was a period of time where we were all in limbo as consumers and producers. Masterpiece was starting to lag before Legends exploded, because I think people got fatigue. I think there was a lot of time going on between releases. I think Fans Toys played a big role in destroying competition.
I agree with you about the Fans Toys thing. I think they played a part in where MP is as well. Don't get me wrong. But in regard to the Legends thing, like, I think it's not just the fatigue. I think it was also that Masterpiece was getting more expensive. You know, so there was a cost fatigue as well, not just by like consumer fatigue.
I'll say, and Robert, to your point, when they first came out, like when Masterpiece was getting more expensive, and Legends I know are more expensive now, but they still came out cheap as comparatively.
Right, but I don't think anybody was buying a Legends instead of an MP. MP started, the competition slowed down, the production slowed down. So I feel that the market found a way, and people were like, well, okay, I'm going to buy up this Iron Factory. Because it's Legends, it could come out quicker and higher volume, you know, just in terms of the amount of characters you can get. So, but I still, to this day, don't think people are buying Legends in lieu of MP.
I do.
I do. Yeah, I do. I've heard people say, "Hey, look, I'm getting out of the MP game and I'm going the Legends route."
And I'll tell you why. And it's not just the money, but the money is a big part of it. Like, I think that a lot of people think Legends are more fun. It's a more fun experience. I think that's a fair thing to say, and it's valid. But like,
easier to transform.
They're easier to transform. They're easier to handle just because they're smaller. Do you know what I mean? So it's like it's like the difference between playing with a 3 3/4 figure versus a Hot Toys or something. You know, like, but in the same breath, there's another aspect too, where there's this bell curve of disposable income. And I think a lot of people come into disposable income in their 30s. That's when they really get, you know, their foot in the door of where they're going to be in life. And that's when money becomes a little bit more available. And as they do, I think that there's this price range where it becomes dealable, and it's around $100 to $150. And that's what we had too in our 30s, was $100 to $150. But when they drop Bumblebee and Wheeljack or whatever in Masterpiece in relatively close proximity to one another, $150 pretty much covered both, you know, and now it doesn't, but it will cover the Legend stuff. And I think now that Masterpiece is going for like over 150 easily to sometimes 300 and beyond, I think that type of fan is at a different point in their life. And when you get out of your 30s and into your 40s, I think the allure of spending money on this becomes less. And at that point, that price phases that crowd out, and the new price is bringing in the new crowd, and that new crowd wants to spend 50 to 150, and that's where Legends sit right now.
But I'm going to challenge you on that.
Okay.
Let's first focus on what you just said about the price of MP increasing to the point where people are unable to really keep collecting it. How does that apply to Legends' impact on MP? That's MP's impact on MP. Legends had nothing to do with that?
Because you have an option.
You
I
have
think
an
if there were no
option.
MP, people would just be buying. I mean, if you had no Legends, people would still
I'm not
just be
saying
buying
it's
MP.
Legends' fault.
But if people can't afford it, but I don't think Legends had any impact whatsoever. If people can't afford it, they can't afford it.
I think people are buying stuff they can't afford always.
I'm in lots of Legends groups and in lots of MP groups, and I've seen zero people, anecdotally,
Ricky.
truthfully, but
Ricky.
still.
Yeah,
Ricky.
that's who comes to mind for
Ricky.
me too, is Ricky. Yeah.
Ricky?
Yeah.
He's chatty.
He is.
Yeah,
But I mean, if you're asking for a data point, there's your data point. You know what I mean?
Okay, or he could be, that's one guy. I mean, I haven't seen him say it, but maybe he'll say it to me. What I think you can see right now what's going on is look what Zeta's doing. Look at what Kang Toys is doing. They're doing both because we're addicts and we want both.
I don't know if I consider you to be the majority.
What I'm saying is I'm not the only customer buying both. Look, if we look at the market, it can demonstrate this. If we have a burgeoning market of companies doing both because both are selling.
See, I want to take it back.
But I think they're probably selling to two separate customer groups.
Yes, for sure. And on top of that, I think it also goes back to your addict thing. I think because the Legend stuff were more prolific at a certain point, arguably still, that a lot of people got tired of waiting for Masterpiece releases and just switched over to Legends to have more stuff to buy. You know, just for the joy of buying something.
MP at that point.
I think that some have. Yes, I think that with the popularity of Legends, there are less Masterpiece collectors, both new and old.
This is a chicken and the egg argument we're going on now. Do we think it's the number of people collecting MP decreased and that therefore caused companies to produce less MP? Or is the number of people collecting MP has decreased simply because the companies producing MP has decreased?
I think that is part of it, but I think a huge part of it is that there's a cheaper, more viable option.
I just think it's the other way. I think this is because MP companies are producing less. There's less competition, and I think Fans Toys is the root of it.
Well, so I think that it's multifaceted. Like, I don't want to make it sound like I think that the only reason why MP is fading out or phasing out is because of the success of Legends. I think it's multifaceted, but I think one of those facets is Legends. I think that Fans Toys killing off competition is part of it. I think that the price range of MP is part of it, and I also think that the fact that MP has pretty much run through season 1 and most of season 2 is part of it as well. But
I think that's a big part of it.
But I also think the success of Legends is there, and I think Legends is going to face that same problem when they get done with season 2 also.
Quickly, I would submit that you can see Legends is already feeling that fear because they're already redoing prior releases.
Yep. Like, I don't think it's a blame thing. Like, I don't blame Legends for the state of Masterpiece, but I definitely think that Legends have an impact on Masterpiece.
Let's say Legends impacted MP. Is that a bad thing if Legends right now overall are better than MP?
Well, I don't know if I agree with that statement.
Yeah, are they?
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that statement.
I mean, right now I am handling the Iron Factory IDW Ultra Magnus. This is a beautiful figure.
It's a great figure.
I mean, this is...
But I mean, like, you are picking the cream of the crop. I mean, I look at a lot of Legends figures, and I can tell you that not all of them are that.
No. But you can say the same thing for MP.
I mean, sure. I don't think there's one Magic Square figure that's better than any Fans Toys product. I don't think there's one Magic Square figure that's better than any Takara product. I don't think there's one Magic Square figure that's better than any MMC Masterpiece. For instance, you know what I mean? New Age, I would say the same thing.
I don't think any Legends would beat any one of those, unless it's one of the bigger ones, like, you know, maybe a Combiner or even, you know, I don't know how good this new Omega is.
Or maybe Jetfire, but a figure that's an MP size figure.
But it's because it scales, it's to that scale. That's why those would be considered good Legends figures, is because they're MP scaled not scaled, they're the size of an MP figure.
Of an MP figure, correct. So Laura is now looking at her first Legends figure.
The little one looks like a McDonald's toy to me.
Yeah, I don't collect Legends because they feel like toys.
Yeah, they look like.
They're too small, and it just feels like a kid's toy to me.
Because that's subjective. Right? The conversation is about whether or not the success of Legends has had an impact on MP. And I personally can't think of any reason to say no to that.
And I agree.
If somebody is stepping into, I'm going to start collecting, right? And they see that there is a $60 option and a $150 option, that a lot of people are going the $60 option. And as a result of that, those are generating more money. That becomes a more successful whole genre of collecting these things, and the MP game does begin to suffer as people start phasing out of it. Because
but you haven't seen Fans Toys diminish the amount of figures they're releasing.
That is true.
But you've seen other companies do that.
But that's
other
Fans Toys' fault.
No, I think Legends plays a part into that too. How readily available are Legends? Like, right now, if you're getting into the MP game now, there's a lot of stuff you're just never going to find. So you have to wait for somebody to remake it. But is the Legends more abundant?
Accessible?
No,
I don't know.
Sellouts, except they get sold out quickly. Except it's the repaint game right now, so you can get repaints. If you want to start collecting, and let's say all of the MP stuff is sold out. See, that is now MP's effect on Legends. The MP lack of availability is directing people towards Legends. Like, he's like, I might as well collect something. I don't want to get back into Fans Toys. I'll get this. I just don't see the impact. I don't see.
If people think that something is more fun, right,
and more affordable,
they might make a decision based on that.
I mean, I don't have any kind of expert opinion on this, but I would imagine it would have to have some effect. I think especially with just where the world has been the last 3 or 4 years, people are more nervous about what they're spending their money on and have maybe less extra money, right? More stress. Groceries so expensive. Do you know what I mean? Like everything just costs more job insecurity in the last 3 years. I guess I should have said more 3 years, but like, I don't know, it doesn't seem like it's shutting the MP game down at all, but maybe it's, people are choosing.
When we got into this and we got into third party, it was Chug only. That was the only option. And then MP came, and guess what happened to Chug? It phased out. And now here we are with MP, and Legends comes, and MP is phasing out.
Listen, all I know is I don't think we can base all this based on Ricky, Chatty Batty.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
Polls.
I want an X-ray of a colon.
McDonald's, Transformers, Happy Meal toys.
Cystic acne.
Everyone's credit score.